That Sober Guy podcast contains adult content, merciless truth, and emotional nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm Shane Ramer. You're listening to That Sober Guy podcast, and we help people stay sober. If it's your first time listening, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today. If you're looking to join a sober men's mastermind group, maybe you want to connect with other dudes, find community, become a better father, husband, leader in your community, you can fill out an application by going to thatsoberguy.com/masterminds. Getting ready to launch the next mastermind group here soon. And if you're going, what the heck is a mastermind group and why would I want to join one? Go back and listen to 5 reasons every man should be part of a sober mastermind group. Great podcast, give you some more explanation. And I believe we just have a couple of spots left. So be sure to check that out. And then also be sure to register for our free monthly workshop where we get together on Zoom and we focus on a range of topics, activities, discussions, and tools aimed at promoting and maintaining a healthy lifestyle in addition to that healthy lifestyle without alcohol. And you can register today for that free workshop. The monthly workshop be at the end of the month, every month, moving forward by going to thatsoberguy.com/monthly workshop. And we'll be sure to put all those links so they're easier for you to find in the show notes today for you. And then you can follow us on Instagram at That Sober Guy Podcast. So thanks for being here today. The title of today's episode, 9 Negative Effects That Alcohol Has on a Man's Body. And a little caveat to that title as I was kind of looking at this before we started recording today. Not just the body, but your mental health, your physical health, obviously that's the body, but your mental health and your spiritual connection, your spiritual health, all of that stuff, mental, physical, spiritual, all kind of runs together. And there's definitely more than 9 negative effects. If you wanted to list out some more of those on the effects of alcohol and how it kind of affects us as men, as people, as a person, and what it does to our bodies in particularly. So we're going to talk about that today. And alcohol it's so normal, right? It's part of celebrations. It's part of social gatherings. Whether you're mourning at a funeral or partying on a birthday, there's a lot of times when people are drinking, and it brings people together, but it also comes with a lot of serious health conditions. There's health considerations to take into account, especially when we're habitually drinking. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm never going to get tired of this. But I've still yet to hear anybody say my habitual drinking habits have really improved my life. And I 100% agree with that. It never did anything for me positive in the long run. Maybe there were short-term things where I did have some fun at times, so I can't deny that. But long-term effects and the overall aspect of drinking and what it did for my life back in the day, there was really no positive effects from that. And most of the people that I've seen, both family, both friends, and both those that I've talked to on the podcast and outside the podcast at conferences and all kinds of different settings, just even out in the community in general, there's usually not a lot of positive effects that I hear from habitual drinking. So a couple of drinks could seem harmless. A lot of people can do that, but we're trying to understand the potential negative effects on our bodies. It's important when we're trying to make choices about our health and our well-being, about our families, about our roles as leaders, about our roles as men and being the leaders in the house and out in our communities and at our workplace or our businesses. And this is especially as we continue to age and our physical changes, our mental changes, our whole life is constantly changing. And so we have to be on the top of our game. We don't have time as professionals to be hungover for 3 days and trying to recover from the party atmosphere that we did on the weekend. And then we try to justify it with, well, hey, I'm not drinking during the week. I don't drink during the week, or maybe I have one drink, but then on the weekend I'm partying. That's, as we get older, that recipe doesn't work. And it starts to really see some effects. We will see some effects on ourselves as well as the others that we care about and love. So 9 negative effects that alcohol has on a man's body. I wanted to put this disclaimer in there just to cover my butt. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. This is my opinion based on research that I've done and incorporated with my own experience. So I just want to put that out there. Not giving medical advice. If you think you need professional help, you can call 911. You can reach out to your doctor. I've also been diligent about putting the National Suicide Prevention Hotline in here because that has been an issue before. And I have heard feedback from people that they saw that and they used it in a time of need. So basically, if you need professional help, please reach out to somebody and get the help that you need. So 9 negative effects that alcohol has on a man's body. Number 1, liver damage. That's kind of one of the big ones. I remember we had a gentleman named Larry the Liver Guy, and Larry the Liver Guy came and spoke at all the schools. I must have been in 7th, 8th grade. I remember going to Vacapina when I first saw Larry the Liver Guy come speak. And Larry was a recipient of a liver transplant, I believe, at one point. He really wasn't supposed to be alive. And I don't know what he's still doing today, if he's still alive or if he's passed on or what, but he had a terrible, obvious drinking problem. His name's Larry the Liver Guy, and had a liver transplant because of alcohol. And he dedicated his whole life to going around and speaking to the youth about the dangers of alcohol. So that's the first thing I thought of when I thought of liver damage. Like, man, if this thing alcohol can damage your liver so bad where you could potentially need a transplant at some point or just die because it, the inflammation of the liver caused by alcohol consumption. It's called alcoholic hepatitis, actually, and it can lead to symptoms such as jaundice, yellowing of the skin and eyes, fatigue, and abdominal pain. There's also cirrhosis, which is chronic alcohol abuse. You get cirrhosis from chronic alcohol abuse, and it can cause scar tissue to form in the liver, and it disrupts the liver's function. Cirrhosis is irreversible and can eventually lead to liver failure. And then also liver cancer. Man, the C word, just terrible. But alcohol is a significant risk factor. You're gonna raise those risks with continuous drinking and habitual drinking, and the chances will heighten for developing liver cancer. And this comes particularly in individuals with cirrhosis. So number 1, those negative effects, that's one of the big ones. Liver damage, down the road, a couple of those things, they could be absolutely serious over a long period of time of habitual drinking. Number 2, cardiovascular issues. High blood pressure. Alcohol consumption can elevate blood pressure levels, which increases the risk of heart disease and potential for a stroke. Cardiomyopathy. I think how you say that. Wait, I just totally slaughtered that. Cardiomyopathy. Why can't I say that? All right, I'm just going to stop and not try to say it. But something. I'm pronouncing it all wrong, but that's okay. This condition involves the weakening of the heart muscle, reducing its ability to pump blood effectively. It can be really dangerous. That's a really important thing. You need your heart muscle to pump blood. You need to be clean and clear, and that could be a really, really serious thing. Increased risk of heart disease. Chronic heavy drinking is associated with a higher likelihood of developing heart disease due to its impact on blood pressure, triglyceride levels, and overall heart health. So to just put it real simple, okay, drinking jacks your heart up, period. And it can, and what is like our heart? Gosh, one of the most important organs that we have in our body, a lot of important ones, but the heart, man, it's one of the main ones. And so when we're talking about blood flow, we're talking about, blood pressure, overall heart health, man, what's the important thing? And alcohol can really have a negative effect on that over time. And especially as we get older as well. That's another thing we have to keep in mind. I just turned 43. I'm not getting any younger. I'm trying to do my best, to eat as best I can, which is a work in progress. And then to get exercise, to take care of my body, even just stretching, walking, moving my body. moving. Like I sit a lot for work because I'm in the studio or doing communications or recording podcasts or coaching or whatever it is. Like I'm in front of a computer a lot. So I have to make sure that I'm moving around throughout the day and taking breaks and going to the gym or going on a walk or doing these things. And especially as I continue to get older, I want to be able to move around when I'm 60 years old. I don't want to be hurting and in pain. And I think it's inevitable at some point, right? I'm probably going to have some hurts and hangups and some physical ailments as I continue to age, but I want to lessen the chances of that. And I want to maximize my potential to be in a great situation and be healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, as I continue to age. So number 3, brain impairment. Brain impairment, it's a big one. I mean, we get wasted and we're completely jackasses because our brains are jacked up when we're intoxicated. Cognitive dysfunction. Alcohol affects brain function. It impairs cognitive abilities such as memory, concentration, and reasoning skills. That's why we make bad decisions when we're intoxicated. How many times have you heard from somebody, and I can't even count how many times I'm talking to somebody myself and they tell me this crazy story of something that happened and how this happened or they did this or, they got in a huge fight with somebody, a loved one or whatever. And I mean, just terrible stuff that I've heard, way worse than that. And at the end of it, it's always like, oh, wow, oh yeah, well, you find out there was alcohol involved. So reasoning skills, the ability to problem solve, the ability to critically think about things and respond versus react is almost obliterated at a certain point once we've drinking so much. So that goes out the window. And that's why a lot of people make terrible decisions. Your coordination and motor skills, that once again goes with the brain impairment. Alcohol slows down reaction times and impairs coordination. It increases the risk of accidents and injuries. So we talk about DUIs, car accidents that kill or severely hurt people, or you just get pulled over and you get a Dewey because you're drinking and you're driving all crazy and swerving. And thank God you didn't crash into somebody or hurt somebody or do something, that could be even worse. What else? Behavioral changes. You act like an ass. Just keep it simple. Excessive alcohol consumption can lead to mood swings, aggression, impaired judgment. It can contribute to risky behaviors, doing things that you normally wouldn't do. So, man, that brain impairment one and the list kind of below that is a really good one to think about. And that's why we talk about trying to be our best version of ourselves and trying to be at the top of our game, especially for those of us who are professionals out there at what we do and we perform at a top-notch level, regardless of what that is, whether you're in media, you're in music industry, you're in finance, you're in construction, you're a business owner, whatever it is that you do, if you take a lot of pride in being a professional and being at the top of your game and you want to be at the top of your game, being a father, being a husband, all that stuff, the personal stuff all comes in. Alcohol doesn't improve any of that. I hate to tell you. I mean, at times, yeah, we think that in the social situations, maybe, it could help us get a client or we kind of are vibing with somebody on the team or whatever. But man, in the long run, trust me, you're going to get a lot more respect. You're going to get a lot more done, and you're going to advance a lot more in your own career, in your own goals with your family, in your own goals in life if you cut that crap out, because you're not going to have any of these issues like the brain impairment stuff, like the health issues. Number 4, this is a serious one. Pancreatitis, acute pancreatitis. I don't know what keeps clicking in my earbuds here. I may need to change out this little XLR.
I may need to change out my XLR cord, guys.
Freaking nerd. All right, pancreatitis. Heavy alcohol consumption can cause inflation of the pancreas, resulting in severe abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting. Chronic pancreatitis. Long-term alcohol abuse can cause ongoing inflammation and permanent damage to the pancreas, impairing its ability to produce enzymes necessary for digestion. That just does not sound fun. And that makes me, when I read that, and I mean all of these, but even that one makes me so happy that I don't drink. And I haven't drank for over 10 years because my chances of messing with that stuff are going to be a lot less today than they were 10 years ago when I was habitually drinking, trying to escape life. Number 5, cancer risk. We talked a little bit about this, but oral and throat cancer. Alcohol, especially when combined with smoking, increases the risk of cancers of the mouth, throat, and esophagus. This rings true to me, and I can relate to this one with the smoking aspect of this, because when I used to drink, I also used to smoke, and I would smoke a pack of cigarettes in a night easily. And maybe multiple packs of cigarettes, depending on what else was going on that night. But let's just say we started the party at 6, we're partying all night, and we're drinking and we're smoking and we're doing other stuff, and we're literally destroying our bodies like in that time. And you're going to increase all those risks of cancer, of impairment, all of that. The more of continuous behavior that we do, living that lifestyle, I guess. But the cancer thing is a big one. Liver cancer. Chronic alcohol use can lead to liver cirrhosis, which significantly increases risk of developing liver cancer. And then colorectal cancer. Did I say that right? Colorectal cancer. Heavy alcohol consumption is associated with increased risk of colorectal cancer through the exact mechanisms, though the exact mechanisms are not fully understood. I'm having a hard time pronouncing some of this doctor terminology stuff today, so apologies there, but I'm doing my best. And number 6, gastrointestinal problems. Gastrointestinal problems. Alcohol irritates the stomach lining, leading to inflammation, and symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, and stomach pain, which we talked a little bit already. I mean, all this stuff just does not sound fun. Ulcers, excessive alcohol consumption can contribute to the development of stomach ulcers, which are painful sores in the lining of the stomach. This is, it's serious stuff over time that this can really lead to. So it's something to think about. They don't tell us that in the alcohol ads. They don't tell us that when we're drinking at the parties. They don't tell us that when we're drinking at the games, and it's so fun because we're smashing down beers and partying down. And there's some long-term terrible effects, when this becomes an issue. So that's why we're talking about today. One more time, 9 negative effects that alcohol has on a man's body. Number 7, nutritional deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies. Alcohol interferes with the absorption of essential nutrients like vitamins, B12, folate, and thiamine, which are crucial for overall health. Malnutrition. Chronic alcohol can lead to poor dietary habits and malnutrition, further exacerbating, how do you say that one? Exacerbating, I think that's what it was, nutritional deficiencies. And then let's move on to this one. Number 8, erectile dysfunction. You ever heard of, what do they call it? Whiskey dick. I don't know. It's like, oh, you had whiskey dick. Maybe it's a rumor that's like he had. I don't know. I don't know who had whiskey dick. It sounded kind of funny, but man, I'm sure you've heard that before. Maybe you've experienced it before. Maybe, that kind of sucks. Alcohol can interfere with hormonal balance and impair nerve function, leading to difficulties achieving or maintaining a boner. Let's just put it like that. But for real, like that can happen. And you've had too much to drink. You think you're about to go have some fun with your lady that night, and boom, man, no boner. Boner not happening. And that's a real bummer. Also, infertility. Chronic alcohol use can affect your sperm production and quality, reducing fertility in men. So, we've seen that. Maybe there's a couple trying to have a baby, and whether it be habitual drinking, other substance use, it can affect the production of your sperm and make it almost impossible for you to get your wife pregnant, which would suck if you're trying to do that. So that's another reason to stop. Can't get a boner. I want to get my wife pregnant. Probably cut back on the booze. Might be a good thing. All right, number 9, mental health issues, and obviously such a big one. Depression and anxiety. Alcohol is a depressant that can worsen symptoms of depression and anxiety disorders. Alcohol dependence. Chronic heavy drinking can lead to alcohol dependence, where you're literally physically addicted to it. You have strong cravings for alcohol, loss of control over drinking, and withdrawal symptoms when not drinking. that can get serious. I'd highly recommend some sort of treatment at that point. Just if that's your case, reach out to a doctor, reach out to a treatment facility. We have a bunch of resources at thatsoberguy.com as well. And we have a lot of connections with different treatment centers that we've worked with over the years. So if you do need some help there, please reach out. Also, cognitive impairment. Long-term alcohol abuse can lead to cognitive decline and dementia, particularly in older individuals. So you start seeing folks forgetting things, and they're not, they're not as sharp as they used to be. And as they age, they really have some difficulties in that way. So that was the 9. And I know I went over some of those kind of fast, but I didn't want this to be a super long episode trying to bore you with a bunch of science facts, trying to sound like I'm a doctor, because I'm not. But a lot of this stuff too is common sense, I feel like. And when you start to get a little bit of common sense mixed with some science and mixed with some facts behind what this stuff actually does to you, it can really help to build some support mechanisms and some reasoning to go, man, I don't want to do that anymore. And you start to think about the effects of that, not just that it has on, yourself or your family, but your health, your overall health. I mean, that's a real big thing. So, it's pretty clear that being aware of how alcohol can impact our bodies over time is really important to setting up that foundation of why we want to stop or cut back. And, whether it's liver damage, mental health challenges, not being able to get a boner, the effects can be significant. Why is it even a 43-year-old man laughs at the word boner? Like, just say it right now if you're listening to this, boner. It makes you want to laugh like we're 12 again. Oh, man, I'm an idiot. But we got to laugh a little bit about stuff, right? I mean, I love when the kid comes out still, and it's that childlike spirit that God talks about. They talk about that in the Bible, that childlike spirit, that dependence on God. How do I go from talking about a boner to the childlike spirit and God? But man, I mean, hey, sense of humor. You got to have some. We can't take crap too serious all the time. But for real, that's what God wants. He wants us to depend on him and to be, to exemplify that childlike spirit in all we do. So if you can do that, you'll find some joy, some peace, and you'll be able to laugh at the word boner and not really care about it. So staying informed, making responsible choices. We want to take care of ourselves, but we also want to contribute to a healthier, a happier community around us, in our families, in all that we do. So let's get a big I almost said cheers, but I don't really say cheers much. So we'll do it. The high five for making smart decisions for our health. It's good stuff, man. Think about it. I hope something spoke to you today. Share the podcast with a friend. Be sure to check out our sober mastermind groups coming up. You can fill out that application by going to thatsoberguy.com/masterminds. All the details are there for you. Hit us up on Instagram at That Sober Guy Podcast. Peace, love, and respect. Keep your blood clean.